Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have a very special guest on the show. He goes by the name Patriot Rob. I met him on X. He's a friend of mine. He is raw and real and tells the truth and speaks the truth and says it like it is. So do me a favor and share this out to everybody you know. Let's get this in all the private chats you're in. You know those group chats that people add you to that you didn't ask to be added to and you didn't really want to be added and you don't want to leave because you don't want to upset them. Share it especially to those groups because they deserve it. So, hey, stay with us. We'll be right back with the one and only Patriot Rob. Back. Let me get Rob on here. Rob, welcome to the show.
What's going on, bro?
It's good to have you here, dude.
It's good to sit here and chill out with you, bro. But I don't know how I feel about this whole thing. But whatever, it is what it
Uh,
is, bro.
dude, this is here's the thing. I started this 7 years ago. Um and it was really to help myself have a breakthrough in life because I was stuck. And I'm like, I hear all this stuff about people, I can hear other people's stories and somewhere in there I'll hear mine and it'll help me and along the way it has, man, and it's helped a lot of other people hear how people get stuck and get through the shit in life and have a breakthrough. And that's what this is about, dude. You've been stuck in life and had breakthroughs,
Dude, are
that's
you
what
kidding
it's
me? My life has been perfect. Fuck out of
All
here
right.
with
Well,
that.
hey, this has been a great show.
This
That
was
was
a great
Patriot
show. Yeah,
Rob.
yeah. That's a wrap, baby. That's a fucking wrap.
Uh, so Rob, start with I always like to start with, sharing with everybody kind of like where it all began for you, where you were born and raised ish.
I came out of my mother's vagina in the Bronx, New York, in 1974.
That makes a lot of sense. Wow.
I can't believe I just
Wow.
said that out loud.
I can't believe we're still
1974.
live on YouTube and Facebook.
Listen,
Um
I used
so
the medically appropriate term for it. So
That's
yeah,
true. That's true. Good job. Look at all these great people reposting this. Thank you all so much.
yeah. Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
guys.
So no, seriously,
I was
whereabouts you were born in the Bronx and
Yep.
you were raised in the Bronx?
I lived there till I was 3, and then we moved to the outskirts of the Bronx. After that, and I mean, obviously, I don't remember, but I did in my years following. I did hang out in the Bronx all the time. That's pretty much where we hung
Really?
out and got in trouble.
I've only been to I've driven through, I've flown into LaGuardia and JFK for layovers. But there's the amazing Shell.
What's up,
Um,
Shell?
but I drove there one time and I'm
And
not gonna lie, man.
you actually made it through.
Well, listen, I was nervous as a hooker in church, dude. I was like, because I was a small town kid from nowhere, Ohio, man. All
Oh
I
yeah.
knew was there was murder and crazy shit going on the streets of New
Listen,
York. I did.
I grew
I,
up in a time there that if you were driving through there and you were stopped at a red light, a cop would pull you over at the red light. You know why?
wow,
To tell you to blow the red light and get the fuck out.
no way,
I
really.
swear to God. Yep, that's
Well, I
exactly what
wasn't
it
in
was.
so I didn't go to I went to Manhattan and I had a business meeting in somewhere in Manhattan. We ended up walking around. I saw this was back in, I don't know, this maybe 8 years ago, but so Dude, I was on 34th Street. It was almost Christmas time, so they had everything decorated. My wife's been to New York a million times. It's my first time. I'm driving on 34th, and dude, I FaceTime my wife. I'm like, "There's Macy's. Oh my god, look at that!" And I almost hit a traffic cop. She
Listen,
was
I
not happy. She
growing
wasn't
up,
happy.
I mean, as bad as the Bronx was, but New York was a different animal in the 80s, man. It really was. Like we had something called FAO Schwartz, and
Yep.
for a kid, that was the shit. That if you got to go to FAO Schwartz in downtown Manhattan and dance on that big ass piano from the movie Big, you remember that
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
seeing the Teddy Ruxpin, the big huge one that they had in the center of it when that was all the friggin' rage. That I actually had one and I put Metallica's Master of Puppets in it and pretty much shorted the dude out. That's exactly what I did with it. I put Master of Puppets in the thing, and it was like, "What the hell is this?"
Oh
But
my god, that's so
so,
funny.
but yeah, I mean, it was a different animal. Like you
Yeah.
could ride the subway then, and it as bad as it was very few and far between,
Yeah.
and you never heard the stories like you hear today. Like New York is completely different in the last 30 years to the point that I don't even want to ever go back there. And all of my family's there. I
Wow.
don't. They still live. I mean, most of my family's all from Yonkers. I mean, that's
I
you know.
had I have a friend and he lives in Connecticut. Him and his family live in Connecticut, but he rides the train. Is that the subway? I don't know.
No, the train. Probably the Amtrak. That's the subway's different than the.
From Connecticut down to Manhattan to Grand
Yeah, that's
Central Station
that's the
every
regular
day.
train. That's like the.
Oh, is it? Yeah, but I'm like, really? That seems dangerous.
No,
Like,
no, no. Those trains aren't dangerous. It's when you
no,
get into Grand Central Station and you get in onto the subway that it becomes dangerous if you got to go anywhere.
that's crazy, man. So, but you ran around on those subways as a kid.
As a kid, yeah. I mean, well,
Wow.
I mean, we like me by myself. No, like if we went into the city, it was my dad drove, but
Oh, yeah.
on the certain times that we would take the subway in there, because that's when you could still actually get parking that didn't cost you an arm and a leg.
Right. Yeah.
The city was clean back then. I mean,
Wow.
Giuliani really did
He
amazing
did.
work in that city. He did.
He
He
did.
got
He
rid of all the
did.
porn theaters and the porn stores, and cracked down on the hookers and the drugs, and he wanted a clean city, much like Buddy Cianci did. But everybody gives Buddy Cianci shit because he was part of the mafia. But he really did clean up Providence. Like
Yeah.
Providence was a different animal than it is today. And honestly, that whole area was more of my stomping ground than New York ever was, because I ended up moving out of there when I was 13 and moved to Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and I lived in Pennsylvania for a couple of years, and then we moved to Connecticut.
Okay.
And then after we moved to Connecticut, when I was 15, I became an emancipated minor, and I've been on my own since then.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know that's interesting.
Yep.
So let's talk about that here in a second. Talk a little bit more about. I'm always curious. Again, I grew up in a tiny little town. I mean, my graduating class, which I didn't attend, I didn't graduate. But my class, if I would have been there, would have had like 85 kids in it, I think, tops. Um,
Not the
right?
schools I went to.
Yeah, I know, I know. So
I went to Catholic
I mean,
school.
what are some fond memories you have though, running around, New York as a kid, and what
Well,
are some of the fun things you
getting
you
on my
did?
bike and being able to ride down to the bowling alley that was not too a couple miles from my house, and hanging out with my friends and playing video games, and then we were all into BMXing, and styling was what we called it at the time,
Yep.
and skateboarding. We were all skateboard rats, and BMX rats, and we all listened to metal. And
Yeah.
I mean, all my friends, I started growing my hair long when I was 13, and
Yeah.
I had picked up my dad's guitar when I was 8, and I was really interested in being a guitarist, and obviously, for once,
Yeah. Right.
it carried through the rest of my life, and that was. and it was rough. I got I got stabbed when I was 10, and
Nice.
yeah,
That
so it
that
was
that.
yeah. I still have the scar. You can see it, especially if I tan with my shirt off. But
We have that in common actually. So yeah.
yeah, and the kid was like trying to threaten me with a knife, and wasn't trying to stab me. Like obviously, looking back, hindsight being 2020, he was just trying to scare me and be an asshole. And he kind of went like this at me, and he kind of like tripped forward and went, and I was like, oh
Oh. Oh, in
yeah,
your gut.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh.
My appendix
Yeah,
actually.
mine was a punk that yeah, it's a long story. Was in my leg though. But
Yeah,
I think, and Shell's up here being a smart ass, by the way. Um, she said, "You guys are great and grew up in different places, but only my mom gave birth to a legend."
well, my mom gave birth to a legend, but she didn't deserve that legend. That's for
Oh my
sure.
god. Yeah, let's get into. So you ended up living in Pennsylvania. What part of PA were you in?
The Great Valley area.
Okay.
So like
So
Malvern, I used to hang out at the King of Prussia Mall. That was that
okay.
area, like the Philadelphia side of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, yeah. I got a buddy that I literally was texting this morning that I buy all my cars from this guy in Springfield, PA, which is on the east side, way east.
And that's
Um,
Pennsylvania was. I
or
actually really
west
love that
side,
area.
west
I
side.
really love that area of Pennsylvania. That's like Lancaster area, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's beautiful.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
I love that area. It was
The
great,
only
and
problem with it is snow.
well, dude, I no, no, no.
I know.
Pennsylvania ain't shit compared to where I fucking live now,
I
bro.
know.
Not even close, dude. Not
I
even
know.
close. When you get a
Uh,
storm that's 3 feet in less than 24 hours, yeah, that's real freaking snow.
Yeah, dude. I can't. My wife grew up in Erie, PA, which is right there on the lake.
Oh yeah.
They would get 3 feet of snow just for fun. I'm like, that's crazy. Like yeah, I can't do that. But okay, talk about, you said you became emancipated at 15. I moved out when I was 17. So we have almost 15 seems a lot young. My daughter's 15. I couldn't imagine that.
Well, I grew up
Um
pretty quick.
yeah, yeah. Well, I get it. I get it. So talk about when that happened. Why? What were the? I mean, if you don't
Um,
have to get detail, but
well,
what would make you
I
go?
don't
I'm
make
gonna.
it a secret because I try to use this story to enunciate a point with
Mm,
people is that you can break the cycle if you
yeah,
choose to. Yeah, you control this. You are in power here. You don't
amen,
ever let anybody have power over you and guide what you do in life. If
amen,
you do
dude,
that, then you're weak. And I have no respect for weakness. I grew
amen.
up hard. I grew up very fucking hard. And I grew up being able to make it on my own since I was 15. Sometimes I had to do things that would probably be out of the purview of most people because most people grow up, you're 18 years old, go to college, you get a job, you do this, you do that, and you mold yourself to what society wants you to be. And I was always the kid that was outside of that. I never followed whatever the trends were. I was, and I still am, an anarchist. When I say that, I mean an anarchist in the sense that our forefathers were anarchists, not having societal breakdown. That's not what I mean by that. And people get,
Right.
oh my god. But no, my mother was extremely, extremely abusive, like psychotically abusive human being,
Mm,
and
wow.
it affected me growing up. Obviously, I couldn't pay attention in school. All the things that when there's a kid then that comes from an abusive. And my father was not an abusive, but he traveled a lot for work. He put more of his energy into work, and he would travel sometimes 2 or 3 weeks out of every month for his job. And she was left to do, um, pretty much do whatever she wants. And then my dad would come home and hear how bad of a kid I was, and then he would give up. Um, You know,
Wow.
he would get mad at me for being that. And the only person I ever had in my life was my father's father, my grandfather, as far as men go. And then my mother's mother was one of the most amazing women I have ever known in my life. What a tough broad. She loved me to death. And she, you know, if I did something, if she pulled out the wooden spoon to whack me with it, I actually did do something fucking bad enough for her to do that. And it's like the story with my grandfather. My grandfather, um, so my, my grandfather loved my grandmother. Like this was the penguin thing. And I didn't realize, I mean, I knew he loved her because he doted on her.
Yeah.
But after he died, after my grandmother died in 2008, I got their armoire and some of their, like 100 years old, all mahogany, beautiful. And in it, I got my grandfather's army jacket.
Wow.
And when he was in the army, I had taken, and it sat for a couple of years in the, you know, in the plastic from the dry cleaners. And I opened it up one day to look at it and show my son, actually. And I had never noticed this before because I didn't look at it. In the collar, he wrote, "I love Miff." Now, my grandmother's name is Mafalda. This is how
Wow.
much he loved my grandmother.
Wow.
So he didn't put up with shit. And one day, my grandmother, she was on one, man. She was totally neurotic. Like, she's like typical neurotic Italian grandmother, like psychotic to the point. She was a wonderful woman, but she drove me nuts. As a 15-year-old boy, I was like, "Listen, woman," and she would always say, "Robert, did you wash your pishadil? Did you wash your pishadil?" And the pishadil is your pishadil, right? And I was like, "Nana, just come on, please stop. Just please stop with the pishadil thing." She
What's a
goes, "No, I want your
deal?
dick,
Oh my
your
god.
pishadil."
Oh my god.
So
Oh my god.
this was important to her for some reason. I don't know why, but I had to wash my pishadil.
Oh my
And she goes,
god.
and I said, "Nana, will you leave me the fuck alone?" My grandfather, I call him the mini guinea, okay, because he was short,
Yeah.
but he was a Golden Gloves boxer.
Oh god.
My grandfather taught me everything I know about boxing, and even at 15 years old, this old man, if we were slap fighting, I'd go to hit him one time. He hit me 3 times across the face. I didn't realize what the hell was going on, and I was like, "Oh
Wow.
shit!" He was no joke. But that was the line. That was the first and last time my grandfather ever put his hands on me. He had me over his knee in that belt, all in one fall swoop, like this, and hit me on my ass so hard that I swear to you, Ken, every time I tell the story, and even now, I'm feeling it on my ass. At
Oh my
51 years
god.
old,
Wow.
you did not fuck with his wife. That was it. That was the
Wow.
line with him. And never again did I swear in the presence of my grandmother. I didn't even swear in general. Like, that was it.
Wow.
But so my
Wow.
grandfather was, you know, when I was going through all that shit, my grandfather was always there for me. He was, you know, he would always come and take me on the weekends, especially if my father wasn't home.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, he gave me my work ethic. And, you know, I was very big into comic books when I was a kid, and my grandmother would go shopping, and while she was shopping, we would walk around the backside of what Pathmark. Pathmark was a chain store in that area for like supermarkets, and then
Yeah.
we would go canning, and he would match whatever I did. So I was out there for an hour picking up cans, and then we would go and put it in there, you know, put it in the machines at the time, and I would get 5 cents and 5 cents, and I would save it all up, and he would take me to this place in Yonkers called the Dragon's Den. It was a big comic book store back then. And these are my fondest memories of growing up, and this is, you know, where I got my work ethic from. It was my grandfather. You know, he always taught me that if you want something, you have to work for it. And if I didn't have enough money to buy the comic book, he would put in
Yeah.
for it, as long as I did the
Wow.
work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wanted me
That's
to put the effort in.
it's pretty cool to have backup parents like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can relate to that. My grandparents, my on my dad's side were freaking amazing. So look, Buckster said his grandfather raised him. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
I don't know
amazing.
how that's the greatest generation. My father's a boomer.
Wow.
Hi, Heather.
There's Heather. Hey, Heather.
So my
Gosh,
father's a boomer, but my grandfather, being, World War II vet.
yeah.
He didn't go over. Um, he wasn't overseas during World. He was in the army, and I don't remember right now what he did, but he got out before the war was over, and had my father. Um,
Wow.
but he was just like my grandfather. I remember when Sam Kinnison's "Louder Than Hell" came out,
Oh
and
God.
I had it on the cassette tape, and my grandfather, being the guinea that he is, had an Eldorado. So I mean that you want to talk about stereotypical Italian? There you go. Like that
Right.
was it. And I had to have the Cadillac. Okay, and he'd drive. He'd be like, "All right, Robin, let's go," and then we get in the car. And he would buy me cigarettes at 15, but then 15 was 18 in 1980
Yeah. Right.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
like, and I was smoking at the time. I had started smoking when I was 13, and we would get in the car because he was sneaking out of the house to smoke his fucking Chesterfields. That's what he
Yeah.
smoked, was Chesterfields. And
Jeez.
you have to say it like that too, because that's how they say it. Chesterfields, not Chesterfield.
Chesterfields.
Chesterfields. And
Chesterfield.
so
Wow.
we would go out and we would get in the car, and I was like, all right, Papa, you got to listen to this. And I pulled it out of my Walkman and I put it in the car, and he died laughing. He thought it was the funniest thing he's ever heard in his life. But he was always, even though he also listened to country music, which was strange because you would think that he would listen to, old Blue Eyes or, the crooners,
Right.
but no, he
Yeah.
loved his country music, man.
Wow.
And but the thing is, and he hated my music, and I know he did, but he cared enough about me that he was like, all right, Rob, what are you listening to today? And I would pop in a band like Sepultura, and I'd put it in, and he'd be like, what is this? And I said, do you hear the groove, Papa? And he started, hearing it. He goes, I still don't like it, but he was always interested in
Yeah.
what I was into. Like, he was the only person in my life that was,
Wow. Buck said, please tell me you didn't own an IROC Z.
No. With the,
Jeez.
hey, bitch, get in the car and come make me some fucking gravy. Yeah,
Dude.
put the sauce on the fucking macaroni, kid. Yeah, no, that's yeah.
I just saw
I grew up with those
an Eddie Murphy clip from when he was talking about
the
yeah,
Italians
I
after they
think
saw Rocky.
yeah. When he's like, and the moolie's gonna pay for it.
What the moolie's gonna pay for it? What'd you say, white boy?
I know. It's so funny. Anyway, yeah, I mean, though that's back.
Dude, that
we
was the
had
greatest time ever.
oh my gosh, everybody had a sense of humor, man. It was
Yep.
like now
Yeah, they
today,
did.
it's like it's just crazy, man. It's crazy, but we can get into that. But so talk about. So, did you graduate from high school then, or
Yes.
what?
I,
You
I,
did,
grad,
okay,
I graduated in high school when I was 16. So we moved to Pennsylvania after that.
okay.
And things in my house got worse with my mother. And then my dad's job transferred him to Connecticut. And we lived in the bougiest, most expensive city in the whole of fucking Connecticut. And so I was going to the high school, and I was going to, at the time, I had been seeing a therapist for my behavior issues because I had the behavior issues, right? It was on me. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And she suggested, even though I never did drugs or alcohol, like never. Like it's not like I'm a recovering or anything. I was never really big into drugs. I smoked weed one time when I was 15. I broke out in hives, and I was like, yeah, that's enough for me. I had that shit. So then drinking was like, I didn't like hangovers, man. Like I don't care if somebody wants to call me a pussy about it or not. I don't really give a shit. But I also had been riding dirt bikes since I was a kid, and I was very big in the motorcycle culture even when I was a kid. And it just translated to when I started, when I got my license, that even to this day, like if me and my boys were out on the bike and we went to a restaurant, everybody's drinking beers and eating food, and I'm drinking unsweetened iced tea or Coca-Cola or whatever, because I don't want to be impaired when I'm driving. And obviously riding a motorcycle is probably the most dangerous thing you can do. as far
Yeah.
as, like extracurricular activities
Yeah.
or,
Yeah. For
so,
sure.
but so it was never, it was, and my point getting to is she wanted me to go to Al Anon meetings. And Al Anon was supposed to be for, kids,
Codependent.
yeah, kids that were, you know, uh, of alcoholic parents. And my mother wasn't an alcoholic, neither was my father. I guess that's where I got that from too. Like I never really saw them drink except for a glass of wine here and there. And so it's not like I grew up in a alcohol or drug dependent parents. So we got into this huge fight about it, and my dad was always somebody because I'm sure a lot of people are, but Italians more so than not. Italians are very private about their lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, my dad was like, oh my God, what is he saying in these meetings? And, my girlfriend at the time, her mom was picking me up to bring me to those meetings. And, fucking Gino.
This.
Gino's comment. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need
Yeah.
your clothes, your boots, and your keys.
That's
Fucking
funny.
Terminator.
That's funny.
So he gripped me up and said, "You're not going," because he didn't want me to talk about. And I was like, "Listen, I need to do this because things are so bad here. You live in a big, beautiful house, and things are so bad." Obviously the gaslighting started, and
Yeah.
then my
Right.
mom went after me. Now I'm 15 years old, and I'm pretty much the size I am right now.
Yeah.
I'm a little heavier, just a little, but I'm still this tall. I'm still 6 feet tall, and
Yeah.
I was at 15, 180 pounds, 6 feet tall, and my mother gripped me up, and no matter what, no matter what the issue is, you just didn't fight back,
Yeah.
and because it's my mom, and no
Right.
matter how much I hated her, but at that point I had snapped, and I
Mm.
kicked her down the stairs. And because she was on the
Wow.
stairs choking me, and I kicked her, and she went down the stairs, and my father beat the shit out of me. And I went into
Wow.
my room, I packed my guitar because I was in band. I played guitar in band. I didn't play a fucking flute. I played guitar, and I brought metal to the jazz band. All right.
Right.
And I just I packed my school bag with as many clothes as I could fit, my guitar, and I left, and I've never been back.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
then because I was seeing a therapist, obviously the state was involved, and because I was also a minor, I had to go to court. And
Wow.
my lawyer said, "Well, what do you want?" I said, I don't want to go back." And they threw their hands up in frustration, and they kind of just did it because they didn't want to deal with me anymore. They gave me I became an emancipated minor at that point. And then I
Wow.
was sleeping under a bridge in November in Connecticut.
Jeez.
And then, but I had a really good shop teacher. So I took automotive shop, and he was a Vietnam veteran, and he was a great man. And he had problems at home with his wife, but that's neither here nor there. But every morning he would come and pick me up. He would open up the school early for me and let me shower. He would take my clothes home and wash them for me. And I ended up graduating high school when I was 16.
Wow.
So I graduated in 1990.
Wow, dude. I mean, you're only a few years younger than me. I'm 57, so I guess six years younger. I'm trying to get your X handle up here. I want everybody to go follow you on X. So I'm gonna put that up on the screen. But so you were 16, you graduate high school. Where did you go from there, man?
To
Did
my
you
grandparents' house.
Okay.
I went to New York. And
Okay.
then I had been, when I was living in Pennsylvania, I had met a girl. She was visiting my neighbor, and she lived in California. She lived in a place called Black Hawk, which is up by
Okay.
San Ramon. And she, we had talked on the phone quite a bit. Obviously, it was expensive back then. What people don't realize is that long distance phone calls actually cost a shit ton
Oh
more money than
God,
local calls. And even if
they
you were out of the 914 and you were dialing somebody in New York that wasn't in your area code, it cost you a lot.
yep,
So she
yep.
was calling me from California, and we'd write letters. And then one day she was like, "Listen, I want you to come out to California. There's this band out here that's looking for a guitar player." And I was like, okay. And she sent me $800 in cash FedEx. I remember opening it up, and $800 came out, and I was like, all right, so I'm gonna go buy new clothes, and I bought a bus ticket, and I took a
Wow.
Greyhound out to California, and that would be a story. That whole trip out there is an episode for another time, my friend. Because let me tell you, the shit that I experienced in those 4 days was unlike anything you've ever heard, and it's never, like, obviously left an indelible mark. But I went out to California, and I found that most of the people out there sucked. They were the
Wow.
fakest. They were the fakest fucking human beings on the planet. Listen, we went to this mall, right? And there were so many white drop top 5.0s. It looked like a fucking Ford dealership. But everybody, because of Vanilla Ice, had to have a drop top 5.0, and these
Wow.
people were just like carbon copies of one another that just sucked. Like, these people were just not. They were just the most inauthentic. And you got a kid from New York where everybody's just like kind of real and not like you
Yeah.
know, and I was like, wow, man, I don't fit out here, dude. This is not cool. Um,
There's a
but
buddy of mine watching on YouTube. He lives out there in that area, the poor side of town. Actually, a very expensive little town in the Bay Area,
yeah,
Black Hawk.
yep, yep. So I'm glad people know. And
Yeah,
so I went there. I remember getting off the bus in Los Angeles, and I was like, wow, it's worse than what I see in the movies.
yeah.
Like, it was bad. Like, 16-year-old kid, long hair down to fucking, my ass on a skateboard, fucking riding around the bus station and going out. And because I had like
Wow,
I think it was like a 6 or 7 hour layover. And it was just
wow.
the worst. Even in 1990, it was the worst piece of shit place I think I've ever been to on the planet. Even then.
Yeah,
And, I honestly, man, I didn't really like anything about California. And I mean, I liked her, obviously. She was cute,
yeah,
and she
yeah.
liked metalhead boys. But the thing is, the band wasn't working out. Most of these guys, they actually didn't even know how to play their instruments. And, I was just kind of like, what am I doing, man? And then my grandmother got sick, and my grandfather, Western Union, that's a thing too. Like,
Yeah,
Western
yeah.
Union me some money. I bought a bus ticket, and I went back to New York. And on my way back to New York, I met a girl on the bus, and
Of
her and
course you
I,
did. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and she lived in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I went to New York. She went to Massachusetts, and her and I kept in touch. And my grandmother was getting better, and it wasn't like serious, but I guess I just used it as an excuse to be able to get the hell out of California, because I just didn't fit in there, man. I didn't like anything about California at all, and I had seen
Right.
everything from like San Diego up to Black Hawk. I didn't go
Yeah,
any further
yeah.
than that. So it was really honestly just oh, I got to go. My grandmother's sick, and so I ended up moving to Massachusetts
Wow.
after that.
So I will say, I've been to California. Last time somebody hired me to come and speak at a one of their events out in LA, and it was the only time I've flown into LAX, and I said I will never, and I mean never, ever, ever fly into LAX again. It was the worst experience. It was
I,
horrible.
I know that there's a lot of good people in them, and I know there's a lot of conservative people there, but
Lots, yeah, there are.
but yeah, and that's in Northern California primarily, obviously,
Yeah,
because LA
right.
is just filled with soy.
Well,
Um,
yeah, in that area, there's a lot. Yeah, yeah,
but the thing is, and I don't want to disparage everybody in California, but it just wasn't my scene, man.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
I get it.
um, Yeah, no, I'm sorry. My phone died, bro, and I didn't mean to. I don't mean to. But so yeah, I mean, again, it was just my excuse. I just didn't like the scene, man. It like the metal scene. See, that's a big part of who I am. I mean, my music and my cultures literally made me who I am today. And my political views, my views on life, everything came from my
Yeah.
music and my culture. You know, my nonconformist attitude and fighting the system constantly and fighting back against people that I'm not going to go with your prescribed narrative on anything. That
Right.
came from me being a rebel and being a metalhead. So it's
Yeah.
an intrinsic part of who I am as a person. And it's always give the finger to the system. That's why I am the way I am. And the scene in New York was great. I mean, Scott Ian from Anthrax used to work at the gas station down the street from my house. The guitar player
Wow.
for Anthrax.
Yeah.
So it was a different scene. The metal scene and the metal and hardcore scene in New York was vastly different than California. Like you
Yeah.
had bands like Slayer and Metallica and Exodus come out of there, but you also had Motley Crue and Poison and all that bullshit. That was a thing out there.
Hey,
You
don't be
know,
dissing on Poison.
listen,
Don't
they look like
don't
no. I'm
don't
sorry, I
go
can't.
there.
I can't. CC DeVille sucked. He was not a good guitar player.
And Depeche Mode. Come on.
Oh God,
I'm
Robert
kidding.
Smith. I want to punch him in the fucking face, the miserable cocksucker.
My wife is a huge Depeche Mode fan from the '80s.
Ugh.
So, but
Yeah.
listen, there's a lot of there are a lot of amazing things that came out of New York. There's a lot of amazing things that came out of Sweden. I don't know, but I guess it
Well, the
really
black
depends. You
the
said it,
black metal scene in Sweden was in Norway was top notch, dude.
but you said it earlier that this is what's controlling everything in our lives, right?
Yep.
And so I guess it really comes down to how we want to view it, how we want to view things in life. And I think you have most certainly. I mean, at 16 years old, taking a freaking Greyhound bus all the way across the entire country to California. That's pretty impressive, dude. So when you got back to New York and you said you moved to Massachusetts, how old
I
were
was
you? Right,
16. I was only in a I was
still.
only out. Yeah, yeah. I was only out in California for a couple of months.
Wow. So here you are, still 16, and you moved to Massachusetts for the woman, the
Yeah,
chick you
for this
met on the
chick. Yeah.
bus.
Yep.
Okay. Were
Well, I was
you
sticking with my dick,
working? Did
dude.
you have a job? Did you
No,
did you were you going to
no,
college? what
no,
was go, what was going
no,
on?
no. I just I was bumming around at the time, dude. That's really what it
Wow.
was. Is like I was putting a lot of effort into being a musician,
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
starving artist thing and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, but obviously I was pretty directionless. Like I have no like
Yeah.
authority over me at 16 years old, and I could just do whatever I wanted to do, and I
Right.
don't recommend it. Like
Yeah. Right.
it did make me hard, dude, and make me the man I am today, but I don't recommend it. It's if I had to
Right.
go back and do it all over again, I think in my situation I would probably do it, but I've thought about it. There's only one true regret I ever had in life. It was missing out on going to the Marines for a piece of ass. That's really what it boiled
Mm,
down to.
yeah.
And I thought I was in love.
And I mean, look, man. I think that well, we won't get into that, but you probably were to a degree, and at
I
least
would have made
as
a hell of a
as
Marine.
as much as you understood love. But when you're raised in an environment where there wasn't much of that, then it's kind of hard to figure out what love is really.
Well, yeah, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah,
so that chick it didn't last long with that chick. It didn't last long
yeah.
with her, and
And
I
now
met
you're in
another girl.
Massachusetts,
Yeah,
and
now I'm.
yeah,
Yeah, actually, I was at that time. I was living in a well, they had an apartment, but the second and third floors were um, uninhabitable, and I was living up there. You could basically call it squatting.
wow,
You could basically call it squatting, and
wow,
this chick ended up getting pregnant.
Mm.
We had been together for like 3 years at that point, and
Wow.
she got pregnant. I was like, uh,
Wow.
and I remember, when that happened, I was like, well, I'm gonna be vastly different. Like I didn't say it out loud, but I knew it in my head that I was
Yeah.
gonna be the polar opposite of what my parents were,
Right.
and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to
You
with
didn't get a
him.
chance. Oh. Oh. Do you
So
want? Do you want
yeah,
to?
yeah, I guess. I mean, it is what it is, man. And I had a son that was I say he was killed, but he would have been this year. He would have been 31.
Wow.
So
So he was born
yep,
and yeah.
yep, and he died in
Wow.
my arms. I had to pull him off the machine because
Oh my God.
yeah, I had to
Wow.
sign the paperwork, and I just remember sitting there for it took about 15 to 20 minutes,
Oh
but
wow, man.
I mean, listen, I got to the NICU and I said to the doctor, um, I walked in and I saw him, all the tubes and diodes
Yeah.
and lines and shit. And I said, is he going to come out of this? And they said, no. I said, so the only reason
Mm.
why his chest is moving up and down, I remember this conversation. Obviously, I'm never going to forget it either. I said, the
Right.
only reason why his chest is moving up and down is because of the machines. And he said, yeah. So I said, all right. I said, because I have very strong views on this, even for
Yeah.
myself. Like I have a DNR for a reason.
Yeah.
I know that if I get into a motorcycle accident, I don't want to live in a wheelchair. I don't want to live with, this is
Yeah.
why I'm happy that I live in a state that doesn't have helmet laws. Like if
Yeah.
I hit somebody at 65 or 70 miles an hour, or I get hit, yeah, my head's fine, but the rest of my body
Right.
is fucked up. Like, listen, I have a DNR. Listen, if I hit a truck, I just want to be done.
Right.
I don't want to
Right.
die. Like, I'm not looking forward to dying, but if I was ever in that situation, I don't want to be a burden to my family. This is how I look at things. Other
Yeah.
people might think differently. And, with my belief in Christ, I believe that I'm going to be in a better place. Like, I
Yeah.
don't have any fear of death because I know how I've lived my life. Where I'm going afterwards is literally heaven compared to
Right.
this
Right.
life,
Right. Right.
which I believe in my heart, and this is probably another time, but I believe this is purgatory, what we're living in right now. This is the
Mm.
test of who we are, and we get to advance to heaven if we follow in Christ's footsteps. But that's another story for another time. So his mother was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Overly dramatic douchebag. And I was like, all right, just let me. So I signed the papers and I sat there with him in my arms.
Oh my God, dude. I can't imagine.
We're not supposed to bury our children. Our children are supposed to bury us.
Yeah.
And I was not right for a very long time after that. So his official cause of death, what the doctors told me, and I think that was to keep me from killing somebody, was OTC syndrome. This is what they said to me, and this is what I remember. And turns out that I had a friend who was homeless, and we took him into my house, and she was 7 months pregnant, and she was sleeping with him. And he had chlamydia. And while it didn't affect my son in the womb when he came out, and they didn't even realize it, he was infected with it. And had they figured it out, and I remember getting to the hospital, and he's sitting on the bed with her. Like, I didn't even get to see my son being born. And I begged the nurses to let me hold my son. And one nurse took pity on me and held him up to the glass. And he was very, very, very jaundiced.
Mm.
very, very jaundiced. And they didn't figure it
Wow.
out until I guess he coded, and they sent him to the NICU in Boston. And then I found out afterwards, because I am just an animal about these things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever stop. And turns out that, you know, having chlamydia as a newborn would have been curable if they had caught it in time, and it was literally shutting down his organs. Is, again, what I was told, and this is,
Wow.
and so he he wasn't able to process. His liver wasn't working, and he wasn't able to process the ammonia in his body, and the ammonia was literally killing off his organs. And
Wow.
so
Jeez.
in 1994, December 17th, I buried my son.
Wow.
Well, actually, December 20th, I buried him, but he died on December 17th. And Christmases have not had the same
Yeah.
since then. But you know, I
I gotta say, you told me this story the other day on the phone, and not in this detail, but just gotta say, I'm very, very sorry for your loss, and
you know what?
there's nothing else you can really say to somebody.
Yeah, yeah, actually, you can. I'm somebody that deals in reality,
Yeah,
and he's better off
yeah, yes, I'd have to agree with that. It sounds like he
because
is.
his the way his mother ended up turning out.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm happier that he's with God than he is with her.
yeah,
My personal want and my personal need to have my son, my
yeah.
selfish need to have my son, does not outweigh the fact that it was absolutely better for him, especially
So
at that time.
you were 20, is that right?
Yeah.
At the time,
Yep.
20. Okay. Wow.
Yep.
So I know that you ended up having a lot more children. I mean, a lot, like a basketball team. I'm kidding.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um, but
So
yeah,
I had
yeah,
right after that. Obviously, her and I had not been together.
yeah,
Because when you find out that she's being a
yeah.
whore, you don't want to be any part of it. And
Right, right.
so right after my son died, I met what eventually became my daughter's mother, and her
Okay.
and I were in a long relationship together.
Yeah.
And I had my two girls, who are now 29 and 28.
Wow.
And so, but she met me. I immersed myself into my music at that point. Like, I didn't know
Yeah.
what else to do. It was either that or kill somebody.
Right.
And don't
He's
think I didn't.
kidding. He didn't mean that.
No,
I'm
no, no.
kidding.
I actually
I'm
mean it.
kidding.
Um,
Jeez.
oh, I planned that dude's murder many a
I
time.
know.
He's still alive though. They got
Yeah,
married and they had kids and whatever, and moved to Kansas. All
yeah,
right, see you later, bye. So,
yeah,
so I immersed myself in the music, and
yeah,
I got my band somewhat going at that time. Just it was a shitty fucking
yeah.
band, but we started getting better at it, and we were writing some really good music at the time, and we started doing these shows at local venues, and we were gathering the attention of like big bands. Like, we opened up for Overkill, which was one of my favorite bands growing up. Like, I loved Overkill, like the Jersey thrash masters, dude.
Wow.
And Nuclear Assault, right from upstate New York, Rochester, that area.
Yeah,
Those bands I grew up with in the 80s, and now I'm playing with these guys. We played with Biohazard. We played with a ton of people. It was fucking awesome. And
wow.
we had an opportunity to go on tour. It was a mini tour. When I say on tour, most people go, "Oh, you travel in the world." And no, it
Yeah,
was a mini tour. For me, it
yeah.
was a tour to go from Massachusetts down to Florida and back over 2 weeks.
Right.
And she was like, "No." And I went, what? I was like, this is going to you. This is what you met. This is what you knew. Like, she goes, no, I just want the white picket fence and 2.5 kids and a dog. And I was like, whoa, 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 woman, this is not who I am as a person. No, not at 20 something years old.
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's just no fucking way, man. I don't want to live like that. The big house and the white picket fence and the 2.5 kid dogs didn't work for me growing up.
Right.
I'm doing the
Right.
exact opposite. And she literally said to me, it's either me or the band. And if anybody, and I know there's some people are going to be like, oh, well, you chose, but I didn't. Okay. I chose poorly because I wasn't being a good father and squashing who I was as a person to kowtow to some woman who thinks that she had power over me. And
Right.
that wasn't going to fucking happen. I had an opportunity of a lifetime. And she left. She went to go live with her mom.
Wow.
And, but I had my daughters every single weekend. I had it worked out with her where I could just roll over there and pick them up.
Right.
And they were always with me. So, my kids grew up with me. They were actually more at my house than they were at hers. And she wasn't a bad mom, but she wasn't a stellar mother because obviously she wanted that whole lifestyle, and I wasn't that guy.
Right.
Like, I had never been that guy. But then, now I have these two and they're with me all the time. And, I was obviously still working. I did construction. The band wasn't paying for itself, but I was putting a lot of effort into being in the band. But,
Right.
My father being an architect, I know about construction, and I just went into construction, and I quickly became a layout guy. I went from laborer in about a month and a half to 2 months to a layout guy when the GC who owned the company saw that I knew how to read plans, because you don't get laborers that know how to read plans. But I
Right.
grew up
Right.
around it. So, after
Yeah.
I told him that, he's like, oh, all right. I went from an $8 an hour guy to a $22 an hour guy in a month and a half.
Wow.
And this was 2000,
It's pretty good money.
99, 2000,
Yeah.
So, and the first house I ever built framed was a 15,000 square foot fucking mansion
And
in Milton.
this is in Massachusetts still?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and then 9/11 happened, and I was living in an apartment in a hotel. They had apartments, and I was working at the hotel out after work. Like, I would go and do like fix-it stuff around the hotel.
Yeah.
And it was a really nice apartment too. So it wasn't just like some slum hotel, but it was a really nice apartment. It was a 1-bedroom
Right.
apartment for
Right.
the groundskeeper. And I remember waking up on the morning of September 11th, and I went and I got my coffee. I turned the coffee pot on, went and took a squirt, came back out, grabbed my coffee, and I sat down. And I was kind of just like looking over at something else, and I saw the TV out of the corner of my eye. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And all I saw was buildings burning. Well, I saw one building burning, and I was like, what the fuck? And I stop at the TV. I stop and I look at the TV, and I just sat there and I watched the second plane hit live.
Me too. I remember
I went,
it well.
holy shit, we're under attack.
Yeah.
That's all I could think of. And I say that because there's more stories to the 9/11 thing that we could talk about. They're actually funny stories. And the statute of limitations is up, so I can't get arrested for anything that I did after that. It was pretty brutal. But nobody died, so the statute of limitations is up.
Yeah, right. Right.
But so we did this benefit on September 15th, all the bands. Yeah, you're going to add 6 more hours, Rob. You really need to write a book. I don't know how much time you have, dude.
It's normally an hour, but we're good.
Oh, Jesus,
we're good.
dude.
Yeah, we're good.
We could
Hey,
do it.
it's my
No,
show and it's the internet. We'll do it whatever.
I know. We could do a
Yeah.
part 2 if you want.
Nah,
At
we're
any
good.
time.
Just keep going.
So,
I'll move it along with you
all
here in a
right. So
minute.
I
Yeah.
met this chick at this benefit concert, and she was. I ended up living with my mother.
Mm. Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
My daughters hated her.
Oh my
Hated her.
God.
Like despised her. And then
Wow.
a couple of years, her and I had been together. We were 10 years apart. I was 26, she was 36. And that's called being unequally yoked.
Yeah.
Because we definitely were.
Yeah,
You met
sure.
me playing at a show, woman. What is with these fucking women that just think that, hey, listen, he's hot. He's got long hair. He could dick me down. It's awesome. But you know what? There's this and this and this that's wrong with him, and I'm going to mold him into what the fuck I want. And it's like, listen, bitch, no. Like, you met me playing at a show. Would you honestly think that this is just a hobby?
Right.
No.
Right.
I put my entire life into this fucking band, and
Yeah.
this is what I wanted to be, my career to be. Yeah, I work. I have to work to pay my bills, but this is who I am. I don't care that you got a fucking $2 degree from a community college, and now you're a computer programmer. You're nothing. Like, shut the fuck up. And that's all I heard for 2 years. Like, I went to school and I got a college degree.
Right.
And now I'm a coder. Oh, yeah, you have such a fucking rewarding life. So, but dude, it was just issues after issues after issues. And she wasn't a mother. She didn't want to be a mother, even though she knew. Like, I don't hide the fact that I have kids from anybody.
Right.
You know, like, I'm proud of my kids.
Sure. You should be.
And you know what? I most of the time I don't say kids, I say children, because kids are baby goats. And well, some of them are baby goats. They fucking eat everything in the house if you're not careful. But so shortly after that, I had met, which is now my son's mother. I had met her, and she didn't have any kids, but she did. Her daughter died 4 months before my son did.
Wow.
But she was born with she had a congenital heart failure, so she had died in the womb the day before she was born. So that's what her and I, you know, when we met, we started talking, and she had this like really ugly tattoo that was just done really bad, but it was like an angel, and I thought it was some like purple nurple thing, and I was making fun of it, and I said, oh, she goes, well, it's an angel, and I said, oh, all right, I can see it's an angel, because I've always been a sarcastic asshole.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what's the angel for? She goes, my daughter that died. And I was like, oh, all right, dickhead.
You're like, I'll see myself out.
But her and I got together, and it was many years into the relationship, and and she loved my daughters. She was their stepmom. My kids, one of them came to live with me because she, my son's mom, and she's a mommy's mommy. She's not a great parent, because she just wants to mommy the babies. You know, there's no authority there. But she's a wonderful woman. She really is. Yeah. And so, you know, we get to like 2009, and all of a sudden, now I've never been married. I made it to 51 without getting married, ever, not once. Yeah, because no bitch is worth half my shit.
Wow.
So,
wow.
But yeah, well, it's because I grew up on construction sites, man. Like, all these guys married 2 and 3 times, and their divorces went to shit, and these women took everything from them. And, you know, obviously my issues with my mom when I was in my teens.
Yeah.
But that's
well, see, in other industries outside of construction, we refer to them as women also.
No.
So I'm messing with you, dude. But
these women were bitches. But listen, I gotta say something. And
oh my God,
they are. I mean, gold digging whores.
Oh my God,
the Brooklyn way. You got to say.
Hold on. I need a moment of silence to pray for you. Just give me a minute. I'm just kidding. Jeez, man. All right. Wow. Prenups. Yes. Look.
Yeah. No.
Prenups.
No prenup is foolproof. No, you know,
Yes,
because
yes, dude, I
no, they're
know.
not.
Yes, they are. There are. Anyway,
So
go ahead. Go ahead.
so let me say something. I realized young, okay, so that I wasn't going to allow what I grew up in to affect who I was as a person. So it's always an it's an offside comment, a sarcastic comment that I am the way I am with women because of my mom.
Yeah.
It's not even true. Um, I swore that I had heard something from somebody, and I know this is going to be blasphemy and sacrilege, but
Uh-oh. Hold on.
well,
Let me give
no,
you full screen for that.
no. So I had read Diary of a Drug Fiend by Aleister Crowley when I was 18 years old.
Diary of a what?
Drug Fiend,
Okay.
Fiend, yeah,
Okay.
from Aleister Crowley.
Never heard of it, but go ahead.
Um, well, then obviously the Catholic Church deemed him as satanic, but I wasn't always a Christian. um, Actually, I wasn't satanic either. I thought that was just Anton LaVey was a fucking joke to me, and an idiot. But I had read that book because I've read a lot of books, a lot, and something he had said in one of these novels was he was talking about transcendence, and it really stuck with me my whole entire life. See, he was deemed a Satanist by the Catholic Church because he preached about having power in yourself outside of the church.
Right.
Like you have the power in your
Yes.
head. So he spoke about transcendence and that your job as a human being, and I'm paraphrasing all of this to make it palatable to people.
Yeah.
Your job as a human being is to become a perfect version of yourself. You will
Right.
never attain perfection because you are a human, but it's in the work that you put in to being a perfect human being that you become a perfect being. You understand that?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
transcendence, transcending the normative to become
Yeah.
the very perfect version of you, because we all know we were born with it. When we look in the mirror, I know who I'm supposed to be as a man and as a human being. I know
Yeah.
the perfect version of Rob, and it is my duty and my job to work at that every single day. And
Yep.
that was extremely transformative to me when I was 18 years old.
Yeah.
So at that
Have
moment,
you read the Road Less Traveled? Just side question.
no, the
It's
road less traveled is,
Scott Peck, and he starts out with you're talking about this, and it's reminding me of what he says that he the very first three words of the book are life is difficult, and he said, I'm not saying that to be negative. He says, I'm saying that the sooner, instead of walking around expecting life to be this perfect blah blah blah, once you accept that life is difficult, it becomes easier to transcend the difficulties in
yep.
life. It's the expectation that my life should be perfect, and everybody, that's the problem people have. So you just reminded me of that. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, and like I said, it was prolific and it was transformative for me to read that.
Yeah.
All the other stuff was just like, all right, dude, the guy's fucking tripping on acid and he's just writing some shit. But every
Yeah.
once in a while, I even say things that are prolific sometimes. Very rarely, but when I
No,
do.
you do. You
Um,
do. You do.
but it's so, again, that my my childhood and my music and the things that I did as a kid molded me who I was, and I was going down a dark path there for a while in my later teens. Like had I not read that, and I know the Christian conservatives are going to have a fucking problem with this, and I don't really care because fuck your pious ass. I don't give a shit. But at 18 years old, this literally was the thing that made me step out from, oh, my mommy beat me and this is why I act the way I do. Like I took power at that point over who I was. I wasn't going to let her have power over me anymore. And this is the thing. People don't seem to realize that you have all the power that you need in here. You
Yeah.
have to want to tap into it and you want to have to use it. This is why I walk around life with zero fucks. Like this
Yeah.
this is why I am the way I am. Like I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I don't care what anybody says about me. I am proud of who the fuck I am. And at the end of the day, it's me and my kids.
Yeah.
I care that they're the only ones I care about what they think of me, and my kids love me for being the dad that I am. I have never once in my life, you would think the opposite, to the point that my daughter, my 28-year-old daughter, throws me under the bus with my son and goes, "Don't worry about dad. He'll never hit you because he's never hit us, and he's a big bush." Like, and then, so my son gets this in his head, and like he can say whatever he wants now because he's 15 and he's feeling his oats. And I'm like, all right, listen, there's a difference. You're a boy. You're 6 foot
Right.
tall and 200 pounds. I will fuck you up. All right. And I'm like,
Oh
listen, there's gonna be
God.
a line, kid, and I'm gonna kick your ass. I don't care
Yeah.
if you're a monster on the football field. I am gonna kick your ass. But no,
Oh my
that
God.
was the thing. Like they, they saw all their friends around them, their parents like smacked them around or whatever,
Yeah.
and they never experienced that from me. I did the exact opposite of what my did. My kids love me and respect me for that. My voice was enough. My disappointment. If I were to ever, my God, if I were to ever say to my daughters I was disappointed in something they did, you might as well have thought that I kicked their ass. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, that was like the look on their face, the dour look on their face was like, oh my God, I disappointed my dad. And I was able to raise my children, with equal amounts of fear and respect
Yeah.
because of my presence was the fear, but also the fear of them disappointing me. And they
Yeah.
turned out to be great kids. Like
Sure.
I love my kids. And so my 32-year-old daughter is not actually my daughter. She's somebody that I adopted. She didn't have a
Wow.
father, and
Wow.
when I met her in 2003, she had never known her actual sperm donor, and
Wow.
so with my son's mother, her best friend had this child, and
Mm.
she was not a good parent. So my son's mother was raising this girl, so she kind of came with the package. And I just remember one day she was sitting on my lap, and well, she ran and sat on my lap, and my daughters were at the house, and she just looked at me and said, "I want you to be my daddy."
Oh,
And I was like, "You got it, kid. You got it. Done."
dude, stop it, man. You're gonna make me tear up. That's
Oh,
freaking amazing.
I'm a grandfather now.
Wow.
She my 5-year-old grandson is amazing. He's awesome. He gives her so much shit. I love it. I love it. It's like revenge, motherfucker, revenge. But no, he's great, and she may not be my blood, but she's my kid,
Wow.
and
That's freaking awesome, dude.
yeah, yeah, it's I love her to death. I treated her exactly the same as I did my daughters. They all three of them grew up together.
Yeah.
They're tight as hell. It's I
That's
love being a
awesome.
dad. The,
Yeah.
the greatest gift I've ever been given. I love, and I'm an extremely extremely protective father. Like
You know,
there's
I think it's time to make a point from my perspective. You play this hard ass, um, tatted up tough guy, but you're a big, you're just a big teddy bear, man.
well, I mean, it's one of those things. I live by the motto: "Fuck around and find out."
Yeah, no, I get it. I
Like
get it.
I look the way I do just because it's like residual self image. Remember that remark from The Matrix? Like
Yeah,
this is who I see myself to be. But
yeah.
listen,
I'm gonna come up there and shave you and put a suit and tie on your ass.
motherfucker, let me tell you something. You got to lose some weight, start
I
working out, get your
I'm
testosterone up,
I'm
and
bigger than you, dude. I'm not worried about it.
no,
Anyway, no, I'm kidding. So look, I think that the truth is you're probably one of the smartest people that I know on X, and I mean that genuinely. You talk about things, the books that you've read, and um, look, man, average people don't read books. Number one,
not anymore.
um, They really don't. I talked to Mark Victor Hansen, the number one best-selling author in the world, this morning just before we got on here. In fact, I said, Mark, I have to go. I have a show starting in 2 minutes. But I was telling him, like, he has this book that I'm listening to that him and Jack Canfield wrote together called Dare to Win. And I'm like, dude, it is packed with so much freaking knowledge. It's insane. And I hear you all the time on your show and other spaces and stuff where you talk about books that you've read, and I can tell that you're very, very well read. That's such an important part of life that I think most people miss out on. I mean, really,
Yeah.
most people miss out on that.
There's something to be. Listen, so what I did when I was younger to deal with the things that I dealt with, like growing up,
Yeah,
I listened. I had on my boombox, I had Metallica's Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning. It was a double decker. I'd put it in. I'd start with Ride the Lightning, and I would immerse myself in a book or a comic book or drawing or writing. Most of the time, it was
yeah,
books. I found Stephen King at a very early age. I
yeah,
found Dean Koontz. Um,
yeah,
I loved the Iliad. I took poetry in high school. Um, I wanted to be a better writer. Like the poetry
yeah.
thing made me, because I knew that to write lyrics for music is like poetry. So a lot of the guys, they were like, "Oh my god!" And I also played lacrosse too. So like I got my energy out
Wow.
that way. Oh yeah, I used to fuck motherfuckers up. I loved it, loved it. Well, that was when lacrosse was pretty new.
Yeah,
Back when I was in high school, it was a new-ish thing, and
right.
we didn't. There was no rules, man. There was no rules to that shit. We were just
Yeah.
fucking each other up, and
Wow.
but I like my home life. When I got home, it was right my nose in a book because it was
Yeah.
escapism for me. And I can't believe that Stephen King turned out to be the disappointment that he became. But there were signs. Like my
Yeah.
favorite set from him, my favorite novels from him. Like I even named my son after the greatest character he ever wrote.
Wow.
This is how important it was to me, The Dark Tower. But you go now looking back at it, because when I finished it up, because it started in '79 with The Gunslinger, and then in
Wow.
the '80s we got The Drawing of the Three, and then we went into Wizard and Glass, and all of these books, which were what an amazing story. But you go back and you watch Wizard, you read like The Drawing of the Three, which is the second book in the series, where he was pulling this guy Eddie Dean into his realm, and then he pulled Odetta Holmes, a black woman in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
And so but she was from the '60s. She had been pushed in by a white guy in front of a train.
Mm.
So when this was going on, he was talking about that Ronald Reagan was president. Eddie Dean was, because he was from the '80s, New
Mm.
York.
Right. Right.
And Odetta was like, "Get the fuck out of here! There's no way that actor, that white ass cracker actor, became president." He's like, "No, really, really." And now I remember because I remember a lot of what I read, and
Wow.
it's a gift. And I remember the progression of that story where all he did was shit on Reagan the entire book.
Oh,
Like this was
wow.
his way, like his subversive way of shitting on Reagan. And
Yeah.
I wasn't clued into it because I was just enjoying the story for what it
Sure,
is, and
sure, sure.
was trying to
And
take.
we didn't, you know what? We didn't, I don't think we viewed politics back then the way that I know we didn't. I
No, we
was
didn't.
there. We didn't
Yeah.
see it the way we see it today.
No, it wasn't as divisive as it is today.
Mm-mm. And we didn't know what was actually going on.
No,
The internet's kind of given us a pathway to the truth.
to the truth, but also to people, using it to be divisive and to
Yes.
break us apart as much as they can. They don't want us to be a unified country. This is
That's yep.
this is the programming that's going on right now. The
Yep.
United States, the scariest thing to the United States government is you and I.
Yep.
and the American citizen.
Yeah.
If we ever came together, saw past our racial differences, saw past our political differences, and came together against the one true enemy,
Yeah.
they don't want that. They want us fighting. It's like the MCs. The FBI and the people, they don't want the Hells Angels and the Outlaws to shake hands. That's the scariest thing in the world to them.
Yeah.
They want to keep that fight going. They don't want those two groups to join forces. Same thing with white and black. They want us at each other's fucking throats. Because if we ever did stop being at each other's throats and we looked at the real problem, that would be real bad for them.
It's true. It's all true. It's like the Bloods and the Crips.
Yep.
So talk about, fast forward a little bit because we do have to wrap up here in a few. Talk about when, you decided to get on social media. I know I've got your account on X, the Rob
1772.
1772. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So anybody listening on the podcast networks later, you can follow Rob at the Rob 1772.
Yep.
On X.
1772 is important.
Yeah, and you're pretty. I hear you're pretty big over on Blue Sky or something too.
Never. We're all the. Oh, I can't. Those are two words I can't say.
No, don't.
Tomorrow, where I will say the T and the F word a lot. Liberally, I will say the T and the F word. I promise again, I would be on my best behavior today and not say the T and the F word. So I don't want him to get banned. It's the only reason why I'm watering down who I am for my buddy Ken, so that he doesn't get kicked off of Facebook and YouTube. But otherwise, tomorrow you will hear plenty of the T and the F word, the dreaded T word.
I'm just kidding. But when did you get on X?
Okay.
And thank you to Queen Auntie Kami, just reposted us. Thank you for that, Queenie. She's freaking awesome. Yep. Love her.
So I got on X in 23, right after Tucker Carlson got fired from.
Oh, wow.
So, and Tucker Carlson's the reason why I came to X in the first place.
Okay.
Like the absolute reason why I came to X. I was like, oh, what the fuck, man? I don't like social media.
Yeah.
No Facebook. I got banned in 2020.
All right.
From Facebook. No, it was the great, we call it the Great Patriot Purge. Like, I didn't even say anything other than I'm voting for Trump.
Right. Yeah.
And there were millions of us that got our accounts nuked. After 11 years, like my son's, right after birth photo of even with the the umbilical cord, like,
yeah,
my 11 years, and it what a drastic change. And it literally, I woke up one day, and my girlfriend at the time said, "Rob, what happened to your Facebook?" And I was like, I don't know. And I went to go log into my Messenger, and it was gone, and I was banned. And I was just,
holy crap,
what the fuck? Yeah. So
wow.
And I was just like, all right, you know what? And because of that, and I didn't realize they owned Instagram, and I had an Instagram at the time, but all I did was post chicks with guns and cars and, guns and but I wasn't political on Instagram. I was just, it was that, and the tables that I was making, and the shit that I was doing at the time.
Yeah,
it wasn't ever political, and so I got banned from Instagram, and I was like, oh. All right, whatever. I don't really need it, and I didn't want anything to do with, I have a Messenger because I love, video chatting with my kids. So I made a BS account just so that I can have Messenger to be able to talk to, my kids or my girlfriend at the time. I like video chatting. It's fun.
Yeah.
And since I am Android master race, I don't have FaceTime.
You got to get off that. But that's a whole nother. I can prove it, but that's all right.
And I didn't want anything to do with social media. And then Tucker got fired, and I went, dude, really? Like I would get up in the morning. I was building a house in Maine, and it was like an hour and a half drive one way to the house, and I would listen to I wouldn't watch Tucker the night before. I would go back, and I had a Fox Nation or a Fox Now
Yeah, yeah,
account
yeah.
where I would
Right.
watch him on the way in the morning. Listen to him. I wasn't watching video while I was driving, but I would
Yeah.
listen to him on the way in the morning, and that would be my morning drive. Okay,
Yeah.
and then he got fired because again he didn't want to go with the prescribed narrative, especially about J6.
Yeah.
And that was really that was the linchpin right there of him getting fired, was talking about J6. And
Yep.
so he's like, all right. And then he announced, it was like right after that. So I think he had it planned at some point, because he saw the writing was on the wall. He's like, listen, I'm not
Yeah.
going to back down from this. They're going to fire me. And I think he had worked it out with Elon that he was going to do his show on X. So
And he was like the highest paid,
yep.
like
Yep.
85 million a year or something
Yeah.
insane. I was like,
And
holy shit.
he was the top.
Yeah.
Like his numbers were the top. Like, I mean, like he crushed everybody.
Yes, he
Everybody.
did. He did. Sure did.
So I was like,
Then
all
he
right,
got a
man.
little bit weird, didn't he? He got a little bit like
I
he
don't know.
kind of.
That's probably better off on another show. I
Okay.
don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck.
Okay.
Listen, I have no idea what the fuck is going on with him. But
Yeah.
I mean,
He's your neighbor, isn't he? Isn't he right up the
yeah,
street? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
Like, I live probably like 35 minutes from him, 40 minutes.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Wow. Holy
Yeah, he's
shit.
always in Freiburg,
Wow.
which is right next to Conway, New Hampshire.
Have you ever run into him or no?
No.
No.
But I wish the day that dude attacked him in the store, I wish I was there for that, because I would have kicked that motherfucker's ass. I absolutely would have.
I believe it. I believe it.
It's like that. It's like that dude in GameStop. It's ma'am. It's bam is what it is, motherfucker. That absolutely would have happened. I would have never had somebody like that yelling at me. But anyway, so I got on X, and I was following like 3 or 4 people that I knew in real life.
Yeah.
So I get a text message from somebody. Her name's Cindy, and she's like, "Rob, you got to get into this space." And I was like, I didn't even know what spaces were. Like, I go in there and I watch Tucker, and that's it. And she goes, "Rob, you got to get into space." And I said, "Sin, what the fuck is a space?" And she goes, "You're on X. I follow you." I said, "I know. I don't know what a space is." And she goes, "Ugh." I just heard her in that Bostonian accent of hers.
Yeah.
Going, "Ugh." And she sent me like the link, and she goes, "Click that link, kid." And I was like, I hear her voice as I'm reading it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I click the link, and I go into a space, and it's being run by Nelson Apega, Jonathan Bing, and Cindy Stumpo. And they're talking about J6 and the Proud Boys. And I was like, oh, so I went in there, and I was me.
Yeah.
And I said the things that I say all the time. And they acted like they had never heard a human being say the things that I said. I called everybody out. I called everybody exactly what I would say today, because this is who I've always been. The guy that's on my show, the guy that goes into spaces, is actually a watered down version of me, if you can believe that, a watered down version of who I am in real life. Like, I try to actually limit a lot of things. I am, like, during COVID, I would literally growl at people if they asked me to put a mask on. Like, I would go, "Grr, fuck yourself." I never wore a mask, not one time. I walked into Sig Sauer, and they were like, "Oh, you got to put a mask on." I said, "The last place I ever want to be is in a gun store with everybody masked up." And I said, "Let me tell you something. If you really want me to put a mask on, you call the cops right now. Have them come into this store." You know what? They didn't. And I push back on everybody, dude. I march to my own fucking drum, always. So so I went in there, and I said the things that I said. And the next thing you know, I got a call from Cindy, and on the line was Nelson and Jonathan. And they were like, "Bro, you're going viral right now. That shit was fire content. What what the youth say today. Shit's fire, yo." So I was like, "Yeah, whatever, dude." And Nelson says, "Dude, you're not really like this, right?" And he goes, and then Cindy goes, "No, this is why I like Rob, because there aren't very few men that speak the way he does, and that's just why I have respect for him, because the things that I say all the time, Like, I don't care what you think of me. I don't care if I offend you. I never have. Like the safe space thing, I always pushed against it. And I always said,
Right.
you know what? No, this is not, this is reality. I grew up with the greatest comedians of all time,
Yep.
from Red Fox to Sam Kinison and Andrew
Yeah.
Dice Clay and everywhere in between, that
Yeah.
literally liberals' heads would explode today
Yeah.
if they had did any of these comedy things. This is, I believe in not being I believe in being a nonconformist. I believe
Yeah.
I'm a 1A absolutist. And when I say that, I mean it. I say
Yeah.
anything I want, anytime I want. Yes, even the N-word, whenever the fuck I feel like it. I
Right.
don't care. It doesn't, your opinion of me doesn't matter. As long as I know that what I'm saying is not false or a lie. If the truth is the truth and facts are facts and those hurt your feelings, I could give a shit less. I don't care.
Right.
So I went in there and I went ape shit. I went nuclear on these on these liberals, and they were like, "Holy shit!" And then they kept asking me to come back because I was content for them. And then shortly after that, I had joined another space. They called it the Family Chat. It was Cliff Moskowitz's space, which is who I, where I got to meet all the people that I am now. And then the Punch Bowl, was after that. And then that's how, between Cliff Space and the Punch Bowl is how I met Shell. And then, it just progressed from there. And, all the people that I'm friends with on the outside now, like James R., and, it broke my heart to hear what happened the other day, but man, he's kicking ass. So all of these people have actually been like, you know what, Rob, this is, you really truly have a voice. And I never wanted anything to do with this, man. Nothing. But I would just go into spaces. I didn't want to do my own show. Like, I never wanted to do that. I don't want to be monetized. I've never been monetized. I fight against it because I think it's grifty fucking bullshit. All right. And that's just not who I am as a person. So I'll never have subscriptions. So I just kept, and then I was doing for somebody what Shell does for Colonel Manus. Now, one thing I am honored about is that if Shell can't do the Colonel Rob Manus show, the only other person that Colonel Manus wants to host his show is me. And I take that as a huge honor. And I take that as a huge honor that Shell entrusts me with something that she's worked so hard with.
Yeah.
And obviously it's a different Rob because I have respect for the Colonel's show, just like I have respect for you. This is your show.
Right.
I told you that I was going to, rein some of the more outrageous shit in.
Right. Which you've done a very good job. Thank you for that.
Yeah, dude, you don't need to thank me, man. I have respect. This is your platform. And that, I guess, people also lose sight of that too. It's like, listen, you go into somebody else's space, and if it's not about that, you got to have respect for that space. It's not about you. It's about the person hosting the space. They're giving you a platform to be able to talk about it. You need to respect the fact that they did give you that platform. You don't just get it because you exist. Fuck you. It doesn't work like that.
Dude, that's one of the things I love about Shell and the way she runs a space. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, but obviously the Colonel show is vastly different than a normal space.
Sure. Yeah.
This other guy wanted me to, I call him Mumbles. He wanted me to, produce his show like Shell's, because obviously now at this point I have experience, like the way Shell does with the Colonel show, and mixing a live show with a space. And it was micromanaging and questioning me constantly about things that don't, like, the dude had no idea about space culture, because there is a culture behind spaces. You know this as well as I do. Yeah. That there are some things you don't do. And he wanted me to vet everybody that came up on the stage by sending them messages in the background while trying to run the space at the same time. And I go, it doesn't work like that, dude. And I said, listen, you know what? If Colonel Rob Manus entrusts me enough to be able to choose who comes up on stage, you, being a nobody, should absolutely trust my ability to not bring trolls up on stage.
And who was this again? Or did you say? I
didn't say.
Okay. Then never mind. You don't have to say
but
it.
I call him Mumbles. The guy was monotone, had no fucking personality. And he had literally said to me at one point that he was going to be the next Rush Limbaugh. And I was like,
Wow.
"Yeah, I don't fucking think so." So one night we had a production meeting, and he was like, "Oh yeah," and I said, "Listen, man, you want me to be your producer? You have to entrust me, and I'm not going to be micromanaged by anybody. Listen, I have more experience." And I wasn't being a dick about it. I was being very. I didn't
Yeah.
even swear actually. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, I got a text like a bitch, and he said, "Well, your services will not be needed anymore." So I said, "You know what? Guess what I'm going to do? I'm taking your Friday slot, motherfucker. This is my time now." So I started my Friday space, which was Critical Mass with Patriot Rob. And I crushed his fucking numbers the first day out. And everybody DM'd me and said, "Thank God, Rob. The only reason why we came into that show was to listen to you because this dude makes us fucking our head hurt." And I was like,
Oh
all
my
right, yeah.
god.
So it grew from there. But
Yeah.
my my brother is Enrique Tarrio.
Yeah. Good dude.
And you know, those 4 years between January 6th and when he was pardoned were very, very tough for a lot of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And he, when he came out, he said, "Listen, I was doing the War Boy Studios thing, so I didn't know, like hadn't talked about that. So I went into he had come into my spaces and I had used him as one, not used him, but I had asked him to be one of my guests, and he came in there and I guess he had been listening to the show like every Friday because obviously we follow each other, and he messages me and he's like, "Yo, I can't really say the word that he called me, but you know what it is," and he said, "Yo, man, you got to do a show on the network," and I said, "Dude, fuck you, I'm not doing that," and and he's like, "Dude, come on, man." He goes, "Stop being a pussy. Stop being an F word that I can't say on this show, but I can say on my show. A word that we used to call each other, and it didn't really mean, blowing another dude. It didn't mean that, but we can't say that now because, everybody's feelings are fucking butthurt." So, and he like pushed me for months, man. He was up my ass, literally nonstop, dude. Nonstop. He's like, "Dude, you got to do a show, man. Your shit's awesome. Your shit's awesome." And I was like, "Dude, I don't want to do a show. This is not how I see my life." And one day he just really he just wouldn't let it go. And he went like beyond the names, dude. And I was like, "All right, dude, I guess I'll just do this." I didn't want to do this. I know because people tell me I have a good voice and I think I have a salient message, and I was content doing just a Friday space just to,
Yeah.
shoot the shit with people.
Yeah.
Because and all the people that come into my spaces on Friday at the time were all friends and all people I liked, and it was just a place for all of us to get together. I just happened to be the host. It
Right.
wasn't really about me, and I never designed it to be about me.
Right. Right.
And I believe we called it when we first started. We called it Critical Mass. Welcome to the Green Dragon. And the thing is that would cause conversation. Nobody understood what the Green Dragon is. Nobody knew, and that's another telling thing that you don't know American history if you don't know what the fucking Green Dragon is.
Right.
And most people are like, "Well, Rob, why would you put 1772 instead of 1776?" Well, the Revolutionary War actually started in Ware, New Hampshire, with the Pine Tree riots. That flag that everybody says is ugly, but the Appeal to Heaven flag with the pine tree on it, that came from
Yeah.
the Pine Tree riots, and that was April 1772. And people
Wow.
don't even know that story. We've
Yeah.
lost something in this country as far as American culture, and I want to impart my knowledge on people because I enjoy just shooting the shit with people.
Right.
I don't have.
Right.
I want to incentivize and energize people to take part in this amazing experiment that so many men died for us to have, that we've just let go by the wayside, man. We don't know what it is to be American, and we don't know what it is that we don't understand anymore what American exceptionalism is. We've lost that over the last 40 years in a way
Yeah.
that I can't comprehend, but I know it. I feel it. And if I have a voice that people want to listen to, and they want to use me to get energized and actually do things out in their communities, get involved in local politics because it starts there. If
Yep.
that if that's the message, push back against the global homo agenda. Seriously, dude, that's the nicest way you can say it. I don't want to be talking about transing children in schools. And, we have
Right.
to. You have to go to school boards for that. Like, you have to
Right.
get involved. You can't sit complacently on your ass and yell at a TV screen when you see it on the news, but then you refuse to get up and actually do something about it. And if I
Right.
help one or two people to be able to get that energy and get that anger at what the hell is going on, and those two people incentivize 10 other people each, and then this is, to me, what I feel like my role in this is. If
You
I'm,
know,
I'm going to do this, I want to help. I don't want to be a hindrance.
I think, you talk about things that I mean, I don't know what the green dragon is,
It's the
which
bar
is
where our founding fathers plotted the Revolutionary War
wow.
in
See,
Lexington,
okay,
Wisconsin.
Grant Cardone says, if you are afraid of doing something, it's because of lack of knowledge, right? So most people don't take action in life towards things that they really would like to take action because of the lack of knowledge. So that's that case in point, your voice on this platform and in this world, as long as you can learn not to alienate too many people.
Well, listen, man, I,
but
I can
but
only give the information. If you can't handle it, you're a pussy.
no, no, no. I'm talking about you have some real truth, some real knowledge that people are not aware of. Guarantee they didn't teach that in high school. They didn't teach that at all. But you have this knowledge, and that's what I love about what you're doing, man. You really do come on here and you teach people stuff that they just are not aware of. It's the bottom line. You do.
Yeah, thank you. I, you know,
Well
I,
done.
I want, I want to help people. Like, I don't do this for me. Like, I don't do anything I do for money except swing my hammer, which has been really
Right.
bad because of the tariffs. And I'm not going to back down on
Right.
this issue.
Right.
Um,
You don't need to. No,
but
the tariffs are hurting a lot of people.
yeah, and the construction industry is going to shit. But that's obviously that's another story for another time. We won't go off on a
Yeah.
tangent on that.
Yeah.
For as
Yeah.
much good as he's doing, there are things that he's done bad, and I'm not happy with. So, but I'm not going to stop supporting him either, which was
Yeah.
my post today, by the way, people. But you know, I don't. I think that people doing this for money, like they want posts, impressions, and I think that's some grifty clout chasing bullshit. I don't like that shit. I don't like people that do that. Like I post maybe once a day, and I want to put, like, if you read my posts, it's important information. I don't just spam out there bullshit like, oh, what do you think of this? Or, every 5 seconds I got some kind of, no, I wake up in the morning, I have something in my head. It's usually part of the monologue for my show that day. And that's my
Yeah.
post. And it's one post a day. And I interact with, very few people because
Right.
it's not the real world to me. Like, Twitter's not the real world. This, what I'm
Right.
sitting in right now, is the real world. And
Right.
I'd rather be
Right.
like, instead of commenting on your post, Ken, I'd rather call you on the phone and shoot the shit with you.
Right.
Instead of
Right.
commenting on like Buck's post, I would rather just call him and be like, "Yo, bro, what's going on?" and sit on the phone
Yeah.
with him for an hour or so, just shooting the shit because
Yeah.
we're friends, and I
Yep.
put more stock in real life than I do on the internet.
Yeah.
And I think we get wrapped up in following these. I hate the word influencer. To me, it's
Yeah.
on the same level as pedophile. Like, the
Wow.
two cringiest fucking words I can think of in my head: influencer and pedophile.
So I won't share with you that I'm an Amazon influencer then. Okay, go ahead.
No,
You were
Ken,
saying?
listen. My point to this is,
Oh my God.
all right, you
Wow.
you grifty bitch.
No,
But
they
no,
reached
I
out to me,
listen. There,
dude.
listen. There's some people out there that, listen. You started this, and you have altruistic desire to do it. You obviously said
Yeah.
it at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And if you make money doing it, I have no. I don't consider that grifty. The
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
grifty bullshit is just going however the political winds are going, not having your own voice, but doing it for
Right.
the purpose of gaining monetarily. I
Yeah.
don't. Like, I'm going, like, I don't want people to subscribe to me. I won't ever put the buy me a cup of coffee on my thing. And much to many people's chagrin, I won't do it because
Yeah.
I'm just talking to you. You're not getting an actual product. I
Right.
believe that if the show gets bigger, I want people to sponsor me so that I can talk about their products. And there's very few people's products that I would actually even endorse.
Right.
Like
Right.
seriously, and this is not like me calling out to them, but I really want Grunt Style. I've been wearing their clothes for 15 years. I love what they're doing with veterans. I love the thing, what
Yeah.
they're doing with the Grunt Style Foundation. Somebody like that, I would be honored to do.
Yeah.
People who, companies that actually have proven themselves to have conservative values, that they care about they care about veterans, which is hugely important to me. That they're trying to, they don't believe in SSRIs and standardized medication. They believe in alternate medications to help, and so that people aren't going crazy with the SSRIs. They want to do alternative and natural and holistic medicines to help soldiers. Something
Right.
like
Right.
that is
Yeah.
somebody that I would love to endorse. A gun store, obviously, I would love to endorse one of the gun stores here in New Hampshire. I don't know about
Yeah.
Sig because they fucked us on in COVID during COVID. They just went with because they're worried about their contract. But what I'm saying is,
Mainstream.
yeah,
Mainstream. Yeah.
so all of these companies that like actually do something to help bring back that American exceptionalism is somebody I would want to sponsor the show, and that would be something that I wouldn't have a problem with taking money from them to to endorse their product or whatever. You can talk about their product on the show, but as far as making money doing this, I never it's not I and I also think too is that money changes people because they're worried about getting the next check.
Yeah.
And if I actually had last year a really big company ask me to do a show. And they gave me all the things. Oh, Rob, you got a great voice, you know what you're talking about, blah 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 blah. And I said, all right, can I be me? And they said, well, no, you can't do this and you can't say this and you can't even touch the trans thing and you can't touch this and you can't touch that. But if you stay right here in this little bubble,
Yeah.
I said, so not being me. What
Right.
being me is what drew you to me in the first place because I was authentic. But now you want me to be a poser because that's where my head goes,
Yeah.
you know? And the worst thing you could be is as a metalhead is a poser. That we used to call those dudes posers all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And I turned down money to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna I don't believe that people should pay me for listening to me rant.
I
But
don't, and you know, that's kind of the thing with this show is I've had many sponsors reach out to me and want to be a sponsor, and I've always said no. I don't have sponsors. I have one company that I told them I'm going to put together a little ad because I am an affiliate with them, and the only reason I am is because it's a phenomenal product. It helps people with sleep. It helps veterans with
well, what is it?
PTSD. It's called Nucalm, Nucalm, and it's phenomenal. It's the only patented technology in the world. And I'm not trying. This is not a commercial, but it's the only patented technology in the world that you listen to this stuff with headphones, and it reprograms your brain. It's unbelievable. You can't hear it doing it, but like the Navy SEALs use it, the FBI agents, all these different federal agencies
Hmm.
use it, and it's phenomenal, dude. It's like it reprograms your brain, and there's nothing like it. So I'm friends with the CEO, and I said, dude, I'm gonna pump this out, and I have an ad. I'm gonna redo it. I don't like it, but the bottom line is
Well, I could
I've
do a
never
voiceover for you if you want. I'll do it for nothing. I don't care.
that,
And just do
that's
it just
awesome,
because I want to do it because I
dude.
enjoy
That's
doing it.
awesome. By the way, if you go to newcalm.com, use the code BTW and you get 15% off. It's if you decide to keep, so you get a free trial. I think it's a week or two, but anyway, I've never wanted to. I felt like it would compromise the integrity of my show. This
Yes,
show is
and people don't get
about
that.
people coming on and telling their life story, not about coming on, tell part of your life story, and now we break for a sponsor and then come back and tell her. I just there's other
Well,
ways,
I
you know.
hope we keep I hope we kept
I've
people entertained today, because
Yeah, I
they, at
think
the end of
so,
the
man.
day,
It's been phenomenal, dude. And I do have to wrap up.
I got
I'm
you.
getting text messages from clients and stuff. I gotta call, but Rob, what's coming up for you, dude? What are
Um,
you what's on the horizon? Where do you
well,
see yourself in 5 years?
well, to be quite honest with you, dude,
Yeah,
um, if there's only two options as far as doing this goes, to being a podcaster. I'm not going to say, a shit talker. And that's what I'm going to call myself from now on, just a shit talker. I'm not an influencer. I will never be an influencer. Um, but I only see this going to one of two ways. Either I get huge with this and I'm able to help people on a grand scale like I want to, or it fizzles out and goes away. And I think that it's probably going to go the way of the fizzle out. To be quite honest with you, I thought, I honestly thought that the current climate in construction is not great, but owning my own company and doing my own work, it afforded me the opportunity to be able to do this at least once a week. But if
yeah,
I right now, if anything doesn't change as far as this goes, I'm going to have to go back to work full time, which means I'm not going to be able to do this. So,
mm,
which is fine. Like it's perfectly fine. I had a good time while I did it. I made some really really good friends. I totally enjoy it, and every once in a while I'll pop in a space. But as far as well as I do that, um, the amount of work that goes into doing a show, the prep time, and if you're doing it 3 days a week and then you're doing other
yeah.
spaces and other things, it's a
It's
40, 50,
insane.
60 hour a week job. Especially,
It's insane.
if you don't have a producer, you're doing all of this work by yourself. And
Yeah.
I'm not a tech tart, obviously. I mean, you guys can see, like, I've been a music producer and an engineer for 25 fucking years. I know how to use computers and I know how to use
Yeah.
computer programs, but this is a different animal. And you
Sure.
put a lot of effort into it. And after like a 2 hour show and an hour or 2 hour space on top of that, going 4 hours, and the preparation it takes to, and then now
Yeah.
I'm also doing the news brief in the morning. So I'm doing two shows, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that eats up all of my time. I can't do that and and work at the same time. I don't want to work 100 hours a week. I just don't. I'm
Right.
fucking 51. I mean, I look younger. I feel younger. I have more energy at 51 than I did at 35. I can tell you that. That's
Yeah.
because I've changed my diet and everything else, and I'm eating clean and healthy. But I'm
Yeah.
still 51, dude. And,
Yeah.
I don't want to work 100 hours a week. I don't want to work 40 hours a week swinging my hammer and another 40 or 50 working, doing this.
I
So
get it. I get it.
I believe that if it gets big in 5 years from now, you know, I'm as big as Crowder, and I want to be like that because I want to be able to bring the message that so many people now like to the mainstream. But I'm never going to do it if I have to compromise who I am. So that's why I think I have to. I think it's going to fizzle out.
Well, I think people like Joe Rogan and Tucker would probably disagree with you, but I don't think they compromise who they are. And I also, you're the one that brought up the power of the mind. And I will tell you that I've studied a lot of Napoleon Hill stuff and the law of attraction, and what we speak
Yep.
enough will come
Whatever we
into
put out there.
existence.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll come into existence. So, I think that you've got a very important voice. I think you have and I mean this in a very heterosexual way, you have a very lovely voice.
You got to say no homo. You
Yeah,
got to say
but
no
no, I
no
think
homo, and you say no
you've
homo.
got
That's what men
the
do when we compliment one
right.
another, we have to say no homo.
Yeah, no homo, but, like,
All right, there we go.
you've got the
See, I had
chops
to do it.
for it. You've got the chops for it. You've got the intelligence for it, and I think it could be anything that you want it to be. So, I think that, number 1, I wanna say thank you for coming on and sharing your I mean, dude, you shared your heart today. You really did. You actually and talking about your son passing away, you choked me up, man. I got choked
And
up.
it wasn't in my
And
intention, bro.
no, I know, but I no, I look, there's you know why people are attracted to you? It's not what you think it
Because
is.
I have a
Just
big
so you know.
Italian.
No, no, no. It's people like you, and are attracted to you because authenticity is important, but what's more important than that is vulnerability. And you stay vulnerable. You really do. You don't think you do, but you do. And I love that about you, dude. I think that the world needs more of that. Maybe a little less swearing, but that's my
No.
opinion. Um,
No, I can't even.
I'm just kidding. But look, man, I love you, dude. I think you're freaking
Oh,
awesome.
no
And
homo.
I appreciate you coming on today. And I do have to wrap this up.
All right,
And
bro.
look, everybody's saying it in the comments, dude. Like, look, listen to Ken. He knows that's true. I do. I've done this for a while, dude. Your energy, it's real and it's rare. 1000%. Sergeant Tom saying, Rob, you have a gift. Continue to use it. You're a much needed voice. You got to. Here's the thing, man. Einstein said you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So if you're in a situation with the construction world being what it is, and you're not able to make money, that's kind of important to live. Then you got to figure that out. But you know you
Fucking
got to
buck.
figure that out. But it'll be what you want it to
You
be.
got
I
to put that
promise
on
you
the
that.
screen because that's funny.
Um,
You gotta put Buck's comment on the screen.
I did. Good lord.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But
Yeah, he wouldn't have
$20 is
16
$20,
kids.
right? $20 is $20.
Yeah, right. Right. So Rob, thank you again for coming on
All right, brother.
today and
Thank you for having
everybody
me,
that
man. I
shared
had a
this
good time.
out. Yeah, man, this is great. Make sure you follow Rob on X, and his handle there is at the Rob 1772. Now I know why it's 1772. I love that.
Yeah, we'll talk
Um
about the pine tree riots one of these days. It'll
yeah.
shock you.
Yeah, I'd love to. So, Rob, thank you again, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, brother. I
Hey,
appreciate
dude,
you.
thank you for
Stay,
having me
hey,
on, man.
stay with me, but I am going to wrap the show up and kill the live. So, everybody, thank you. If you didn't share this out, there's still time to redeem yourself, and you can share this out. And let's get a lot more eyeballs on this. Rob's a good dude, and he's got a hell of a story. So, Rob, thank you, brother.
And thank
Appreciate
you,
you.
bro. I appreciate
All
it.
right.
Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody.
We'll see you guys later.